people who may not be racist but keep doing dumb stuff.
Is that a group of people?
That is
right. Where do they have it?
At this point, they need a Facebook group.
Welcome
because
to the coalition of whites.
Because y'all just determined to be the worst people with the worst decisions ever.
Whites on, I can see that as like an SNL skit.
Yeah.
Too far removed, you think so?
Yeah, absolutely. When you don't have access or a relationship with a certain group of people, you're going to step on some toes.
You definitely
That's
will.
true.
And you can still be a good person. You just don't have no experience outside of this. That's so funny.
Right.
I can see that being like an SNL sketch. This is
right.
the white coalition of borderlines.
Borderline.
And we need to work on that name because that is also very borderline.
I know.
We don't do well with borders.
Right.
But I'm sorry, you were talking.
We talking about Granddaddy Joe.
Granddaddy. It's Thanksgiving. It's
First
his season.
all,
To start
I just
want
to say, my best friend Kanye tried to tell y'all about Granddaddy Joe.
Right.
Y'all really jumped on his head. Kanye, homeboy, you right again,
right.
bro.
Kanye has always been right with me.
Girl,
always been all right with me.
That's what I'm saying.
Can we talk? We can talk about this later. But Kanye is a prophet. You guys know that, right?
Listen, the Lord is moving in his life.
Amen.
Just a few things. He did tell you that you couldn't tell him nothing when he got his money right.
He did.
He did tell you that his wife he would have a son. She would have a big old derriere, and she might have been shared across the borderlines.
He said that
of the industry. He said that. There's another thing. I got a list. It's like 10 of them, but let's talk about the man.
I need to see that because that's my best friend. So we're gonna talk about Granddaddy Biden and his comment that he made that got Black Twitter on fire.
In a rage.
About he was talking about the late great Satchel Paige, which of those of you who don't know was the pioneer for the Negro Baseball League, and they was killing it so hard. I think he's so important to the culture because it was the first time those Negro Leagues really set the tone and the pace for them to see who we were as far as our ability to play organized sports and do it great, right?
And also to highlight that athleticism that he was not getting in the powder community. Yeah.
And so he referred to Satchel Paige Powder as the great Negro at the time. It was the way he said it. He was the great Negro at the time. And everybody was
fumbled
like,
through that.
What?
He was walking in a dark room full of cords and chairs. He was stumbling through that sentence so bad.
Because I think whatever they wrote, this is my observation. I don't know if it's true or not, but this is just what I think. I think whatever they wrote for him on that paper, he was afraid to step in. But whoever his speechwriter was.
No excuse. You have a whole black woman.
You right.
As your right-hand man.
I tried to help you, Granddaddy, but she right.
Like, you could have ran it by her if you felt uncomfortable.
Yeah. Why she not helping him? That's a good point. Why she not helping him?
Joe, why you keep falling?
Sis, that's why they hired you. No. So you can
are in
help
the room.
him.
You are in the room. Kamala.
Right.
So you can help Granddaddy.
Do you think it was more words in that sentence and he just threw something out? Because it changes when you say the great Negro athlete at the time. It changes.
Yeah, something
because
happened.
we're talking about the Negro leagues.
He can't see his.
But he was
his
just
bite.
like, this is the best nigga out there at the time.
But I don't feel like, I feel like Negro didn't have to be in that sentence at all. Like,
hey, you know what?
Like, it should have been two different sentences. It should have been.
That's the argument.
He was a great man. He did X, Y, and Z for the Negro League. You know,
yeah.
And that's the argument, right?
He was playing Scrabble with his words.
That's the argument. Like people like, why we got to be Negroes? Like we still Negroes? We still Negroes.
Yeah, we still Negroes.
That was the name of the league then, so that's fair.
That's what I think.
It's in the name.
I think we got a case of
NAACP.
I think he got a case.
Y'all shouting them out, ain't you?
Yeah, I think he got the case of the granddaddies, and he didn't see what he thought he saw, and then he was trying to fix it. I don't know what happened, but I want to talk about this in whole, in general, right?
Yeah. Are we okay with it? Are we okay with that?
Granddaddy Joe, and I just want to liken it to a personal experience I had when way back in the day when I was an instructional assistant, right? For those of you who are not in education, that's like the teacher's aide, the person that helps the teacher. You're not a teacher, but you basically doing all that teachers do with half the money is really what it is.
Are you saying you were slick? No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
That like stick with me. I'm gonna bless you with this story. So the teacher I was working with was wonderful. Even to this day, she was the best supervisor I ever had. Yeah. She was very progressive, considering that she was like an old white woman from Montana. She was the best. I still love her to this day. And so the teacher next door, who I also grew to love, had a very different upbringing. Okay. And so I remember when she first got there, she said something, like the colored girls. She had no idea that she could have got her fronts busted out for that. Removed. And so my response to her was, please don't ever say that to any other black people you know. And I think it was just because she was comfortable with me. Yeah. I still to this day don't know why she said what she said. But that's what she said. But I made a critical thinking analysis on the spot to realize when she was saying that, she honestly thought that was okay to say. She thought that was better than black. I was on the inside melting down at DEFCON 5. But I was like, I chose to educate in that moment, right?
Inside out people.
So, yeah. So because I didn't call her out on that, we got into a situation a couple months later where she was very fragile and old, and she was the music teacher, and so
this is your opportunity
she
to
would,
break her knee.
Yeah, and so shut up. And so she would need help, right? She would need help with moving things around and cleaning and organizing, and so what she would do would go to the teacher that was my supervising teacher and ask if she could borrow me to do tasks in her classroom. So in my mind, I'm in a maid's uniform, and you calling her to ask to borrow can I borrow your girl? Because they used to do stuff like that. They did. And I lost it, right? And I told her, first of all, I told the teacher that was supervising me, because she actually fixed her mouth to ask me. Mm-hmm. I'm reliving it, as you can tell.
We talked about trauma earlier.
Fixed her mouth to say, so-and-so wants you to come, and she asked me if it'd be okay for you to do so-and-so and so. But she was asking me, but the way she was saying it was like she asked me if you could do so-and-so. Yeah. And I said, I need you to please explain to her. And I'm asking you because I'm mad and I don't want to lose my job. This ain't no plantation. If you want me to do something, you need to ask me to do it.
And as a favor, not as this is your job.
Yeah. Oh my God, I was so mad. But
can you ask
in that situation,
if
she came to me and she was mortified, and she was bawling, crying. And now I got this little white lady that is crying, begging me,
quench your
forgiveness
thirst on the fountain of white tears.
Right?
I'm joking. I'm not.
You would think that was what that made me feel like, but it actually made me feel really bad, because I could tell in that moment that was her upbringing. She was of the generation where the nannies were black.
But like you said, it's such a disconnection, right?
Yeah, and the people in the house that worked in the house were black, and this is how we treated them. And in our minds, we were treating them well. Right?
Yes.
We weren't doing that. We were doing this.
Yeah, and in our mind, because we let them have our hand-me-down clothes when we were done with them, because we let them go home with food that we weren't done with. We treated them well. Yeah, we treated them well, right? That generation is dying out, but do we get the residual of that from their children and their children's children? Do you still run into stuff like that?
Yes. When I was in high school, I went to Centennial for 2 years. It was way predominantly white, and you still got the residuals from that.
Wow.
And kids would just say things because they don't have any proximity to black people, so they would ask questions and say things that were just horrific.
Right.
Like if I would express, my father passed away when I was 7, and like, oh, did he get shot?
Yikes.
Oh, wow.
Like stuff like that. Or did he just abandon you guys? I'm like,
wow.
Come see me outside.
And they asked you that?
They did. I heard black people don't wash their hair. Is that true? Like, this is different. Because that's what they hear, what their parents are talking about. They hear about what their grandparents are having a conversation about.
So it's not even it's not coming from a level of disrespect. It's coming from a level of inquiry, but it's housed through the hate of what was before. They're not bringing it to you in the same energy of,
That's true.
you know, my father or my grandfather. He really didn't like people that were like you, but at the same time, like, I don't know many people like you, so I don't have enough information to prove that he was wrong. But you seem fine, you know. So what do I do? You know, you're a person. You're look at you. You're my friend. And so you don't even realize even in that statement you're making
a very offensive
statement, right? It's tough, man. I just say give him a fat lip and then talk to him later.
You know what?
It just you didn't bring that from my people, but my people brought that for you.
Right.
So we just exchanging.
It depends on the day how you catch me, how my attitude is. Like, so I might be in a forgiving mood and be able to sit you down and educate you, but if I ain't got the spoons that day,
if I stumped my toe this morning,
right. I ain't got the spoons. That's my new. I need all my people. I need a shirt that say that. I don't. Today ain't that, and I think that I think that does have a factor in it, right? Like, I think that was in the situation I just outlined. That was the difference. She caught me on a good day, and then the next time she tried it, it was not. Like, it wasn't. I didn't have it for the people, and so she got what she got. But we as a people, right? I think this is how I feel about it, honestly. I feel like we live in the age of instant information. Sure. We have archives. We have real life accounts. We got documentaries, folks, on Netflix. There's so many things that can explain the Black experience for you. So it's still, whether you meant to or not, white privilege. And it's a level and a degree of discriminatory remarks. It's a level. There is a shade, I will say, of disrespect. I
got you.
Because there are so many avenues for you to know. If you don't know, find some info.
So why should they care?
Why should they care?
I'm saying, like, there's a lot of issues that people could say about, like, oh, you should know more about this. You can look up on the internet, but there's some things I just don't care to know.
I want to go out of my way to like make you. I've been in this. This is who I've been in my whole life. I'm a good person. I've never wanted to hurt anybody. Yeah. But I didn't know I shouldn't say that. Why should I care?
And this right
here. Get over
here.
it, sir. Slavery was 20 years ago. Now you're in trouble. Now your other lip fat.
Right. And that's such a good point. And I think that is where and that thinking is the catalyst for what has happened. I believe in that cancel culture. We talked about that in a previous clip. Is the overcorrection of that attitude. So we got to the point where when it wasn't us, it's not on us. Why should I care about that, right? Because it's not me. And it got so bad that everybody adopted that, and we started just blatantly disrespecting each other, just institutionally, socially, financially, and culturally disrespecting people who are not like us, and all of that.
And that's across the board too.
Yeah, the board and the marginalized people who have been taking it on the chin are flipping out. We're overcorrecting. That is us. That is women. That is LGBTQ, right? That is
plus, I guess.
It's everybody. It's everybody, and that's why cancel culture has picked up the way that it has. It's an overcorrection for the selfishness.
Why is this thing doing that?
Of this country so far, and so I've always been a person that has been like, be part of the solution and not the problem.
Absolutely.
And so
it's hard to be a part of a solution when it's like, I don't even know what is okay. I don't know what is okay. I don't know. Should I care? Even as the person of the offense, like, should I be as offended as I'm told to be? I'm only told because I didn't have really a big problem with what you said, but my mother, my grandfather, they would have had a problem with that. Like,
I feel like at this point it's a waste of energy. There's so much that we can put our energy towards, and when we're spending so much time on wasted energy, then like we're not going to progress as much as we could. We could be using that same energy to open up businesses, to open up clinics for us to get the proper health care, to get the proper education. But instead of, we're focusing this energy on trying to get a group of
trying to
people
get you to act right.
Exactly. Bump you.
Yeah.
And we just gonna do
So
what
we
do.
just as right as we are wrong.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
And it's hard. And so hopefully there's proper growth in the right arena. What do you guys think? What do you think about this situation? Are you easily offended by when people come off you a little bit, weird? Are you very tall and getting tired of people asking you, do you play basketball? Like, is that your story? So let us know what you think in the comment. Follow us, like, and subscribe. Love it. And get some thicker skin. Melanin is thicker. It's thicker.
It is. We built for this.